Fear. Fear is universal. We all feel. Do you feel afraid of being alone? Do you feel afraid of being betrayed? Do you feel afraid of being wronged? Are you afraid of the disease? Are you afraid to die? Are you afraid to grow old? Are you afraid of not having security? You experience it in your flesh. You feel in your soul when the pain likes inside you, and you need to scream for someone because you don't realize life alone is not bearable, and you need to look sideways, and you need to find out someone announcing to them that the strength of God is available, that we are not born for the failure, that being happy is urgent. And you can be sure that in laziness you don't get there. It takes commitment, my people. Fear begins to decrease the moment we are looking in the eyes. If you're lost in the middle of the crowd, what scares you most is that you don't have a look where you fix yours. Psychology teaches us that when we are looked at the right way, the belief in ourselves grows within us. The look is the place of our security. At the moment of our fear, if we don't have someone who loves us by our side, if we don't have a look to settle in ours, everything is heavier. Everything is harder. You should remember the times when life was heavy for you. And at that moment, in the news of that death, in the news of that tragedy, that failure, if you are suddenly slow and you are afraid, someone holds in your hand and says, "Don't worry. I'll be by your side." So you talk. "But you don't have to go," she says. "I have to go, but I decided I'll be with you." Did you decrease fear? Did you get in your time? Did you see you as you are? But you know from experience that at the time of your change, if you have someone holding on your hand, if you have someone looking into your eyes, changing with you, it is easier to decrease fear of not being recognized, 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 fear of not being decisions about your life. And you are afraid that that decision is not made considering what you are, the fear, you feel the pains, you have the limits, you have the God want turning us into people, and further we need to overcome before. We do not achieve the success of grace if we do not overcome the chain of fear. Why cultivate failures? Invest in you. It was up that you were designed. And that, guys, I say without fear of making mistakes. The personal investment you make at the time, you don't get used to the crooked pillar you have built, which you are afraid to destroy because you think it will fall. When you get used to being any house, no. Look at the initial project God made. It's not anything God has designed for you. Can't your limits be impeded for you to reach the end of this construction? Didn't they think small? The soul. Humility needs to make us small. But can we not be small before God? And is it achieving this greatness only possible by the power of humility? Beware of what you choose as a reality of value in your life. Beware of the decisions you make. Beware of the answers you give to the world. Beware of the answers you give to reality. Those who need to know how to choose justice, truth, honesty. That's what we're talking about, my people. There are moments of our lives when the decision is so important. It is she who will define the direction we will take. Some people are choosing what it is not good. We can choose what it provides. Come to me, all you who are tired with the weight of your burdens, which I will relieve you. And don't ask the great architect to make plant modifications to simplify. No, ask him forces to act the right way to get to the place. Can you knock down the walls? No. Pray. Screams on her edge. Insist. Shout how much you can even shake the structures of this wall that is preventing you. Don't be afraid of the process. Don't be afraid of the initial project. Run after him. Run behind what is honest, what is pure. And you will not have another destiny if it does not become pure either. Gradually purify your life, your heart of these excesses, which are filled with fear. I'm afraid to get there. So, because I'm afraid to get there, I sit down and I'm sorry for my whole life. Hey, my God, but it's 100 kilometers from here. It takes the first step, which is no longer missing 100 kilometers more. Now, if we hold on to what is useless, what doesn't make us grow, we will not come anywhere. How many times in life, my people, do we need the tumble to find out the essential place? Our place. How many times do we use the futility of life? We pass. Do we waste our time with futility? But then, when by the strength of God's movement in history you discover. But it is precisely the look of God fixed on us, to convince us that we can, that victory is offered, that victory is before Wu, and that for us to get to her, we just have the courage to rise. I will read a very interesting text to help us also in reflection. One day, a teacher attentive to her students' behavior noted that she could help them solve some intimate problems and proposed an activity. He asked everyone to bring a bag and some stones of various sizes and shapes for the next class. The next day, guided each one to choose a stone and write the name of each person who felt a hurt, whom they had a hurt, envy, grudge, or jealousy. The stone should be chosen according to the size of the feeling. After all had finished the task, the teacher asked them to put the stones in the bag and carry them by their body everywhere where they went, day and night. Then they took those stones, put the name of people or feelings. And since that day, they started carrying this bag day and night where I was going. If anyone had caused them still intense suffering, they could replace the smaller stone with even greater. And if a new person hurt them, they should choose a new stone, write the name, and put in the bag. Those who solved the problem with some of the people whose names had already been written on the stones could remove the stone and launch it outside. And so, it was done. Some bags were full and heavy, but no one complained. Of course, over the days, the contents of the bags increased instead of decreasing. The discomfort of carrying that weight became increasingly evident. Over the days, the students began to show discontent. After all, they were deprived of many movements, as the stones weighed and some injuries emerged caused by the protrusion of some stones. In order not to forget the bag anywhere, students stopped paying attention to other things that were important to them. After a while, the students asked for a meeting with the teacher and said they no longer gave the experience, for they were tired of carrying that dead weight, and some injuries were already bothering. The teacher, who was already waiting for the moment, spoke to them wisely. This experience was created just to show the size of the spiritual weight that hurt, envy, grudge, and jealousy can cause in our lives. Those who keep these feelings in their hearts waste a precious time of life, no longer pay attention to important facts, and provoke diseases as a consequence of this weight. This is the price you pay every day to maintain the pain and negative feelings we want to keep with us. Now the choice is yours. Do you have two options? Throw away the stones and continue walk, or are you going to keep them daily, wasting forces to be able to carry them? If they choose intimate peace, they will have to get rid of these negative feelings. One by one, the students were undoing the heavy bags, and all were unanimous in admitting that they were feeling lighter in every way. This is a truth, right? The text is very simple, very straightforward. It may seem naive, but it is a reality. Many times in our lives, we are taking a stone bag without realizing it. And there is a detail that the text does not speak, is that we risk getting used to the discomfort. It's impressive. When we get used to hatred, hatred is so incorporated into our lives that we no longer know that we are hating all the time, because we were too busy with that heavy stone. The people got used to her weight. Getting rid of these excesses, my people, is very important to our spiritual, psychic, emotional health, everything. Our physical health depends on this lightness. And it is interesting that we are taking these weights, often, precisely because we do not reflect on them. Many times we do not clean these feelings. We are getting used to it gradually with these stones that we take. Suddenly it has been 20 years since that person hurt me. I still keep that stone in my heart. I still take that weight with me, and I no longer feel that I am taking any more because it has been incorporated. But somehow get sick because it weighs me. Because the heart that is concerned with hatred runs the risk of not loving. Love and hatred occupy the same space within us, only with a difference. Hate obstructs the spaces. Love opens doors. The more we love, the more we can love. Hate is the opposite. If it enters our hearts, it makes it difficult for us to love. And he grows up, he gets around, giving his heart, preventing this heart from having the positive feeling that is love. That's why it's so important that we do every day before bed. Am I taking to bed with me today? Am I taking the weight of some hatred to my rest? Many times we hear stainlessness. People are unfair to us, aren't they? Sometimes people say horrible things about us. It hurts us. Now, I'm free to choose to sleep with what hurt me or do my cleaning and let it go to the bath I take, right? Sometimes bathing can be therapeutic. Enter under the shower and it can be your prayer. Could it be, sir, just as this water is washing my body, I want all my hatred, all my resentment to be thrown out right now. And then a good exercise, do you know what it is? You forget that bad feeling that the person caused you as occupying with good things. So it's good to always have a book on the edge of the headboard, right? For you to open it. Or sometimes listen to a good song that you know will fill your head, which will fill your mind, your heart. Because from the moment you make this replacement, you are giving your body the opportunity to get rid of metabolizing that evil that the other tried to do you. Slander, gossip. Sometimes the other has not seen the backstage of your situation and has already made a judgment of yours. Sometimes the other looked too quickly to you, and then you, before bed, you go into reconciliation with yourself. Because sometimes we don't have time to reconcile with each other at that time. But you need to reconcile yourself. Because the great evil that the other can tease in us, it is just when I get enemy of myself. When the other, saying a challenge to me, hurting me, he causes this inner enmity. So yes, that word will have a very negative effect on me. And this I can neutralize with good things. Listen to good music, read a good book. But do not take to your bed that contempt, that mean word, that negative feeling. And sometimes we bring it from years and years and years. So start getting rid of all this. No longer take this stone bag. And sometimes you will recognize, from that moment we are talking, you start to recognize the truth. I have taken this person as a weight. No, you do not deserve it. This is why forgiveness is an attitude. I love myself again. I will grow again. I will not allow the bad one of the other to grow up.